Hello, in this video I'm going to explain how to capture a video and display it on screen on the Raspberry Pi using the OpenCV library. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type a very simple code that is very small, and I'm going to explain everything that I type in this code so you can understand it, and also it will be a very good introduction to OpenCV so you can start using it and get used to looking at the documentation on their website so you can know how to use the function for different machine vision applications. So the first thing we need to do is that we need to import the OpenCV library into our code. So import CV2. And if you don't have the OpenCV library installed on your Raspberry Pi, wait till the end of the video. I'm going to share some tips on how to do that. Also, I'm going to put some links in the description for articles for people who explain how to step-by-step install OpenCV on the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to create an object to capture the video. So cap, you can name this object anything, and I'm going to use the function from the OpenCV that's called video capture. So video capture, and I'm going to pass the argument 0. And let's take a look at the documentation for this function on the OpenCV documentation. So yeah, there it is. So yeah, video capture. Open a camera for video capturing. By the way, this is the official site for OpenCV. It has a documentation for all the library. It has examples and tutorials. But most importantly, you're gonna use a lot for the documentations for the function where it says what every function does, what kind of argument do you pass for this function, how to use it. It's a very useful reference when you're learning OpenCV. So what it says here is that the video capture function, it opens a camera for video capturing, and the parameters that use its index, which is the camera ID, and it says here to open default camera using default backend, just pass 0. And this is exactly what I did in our code. I passed 0 because I'm using only one camera, which is the default camera, the Pi camera. This would be different if you're using like multiple cameras are connected to your Raspberry Pi. I'm gonna have to look for the index for this camera in order to pass it for this function. Also, there's a note in here at the beginning that says when you finished working with the video, release CV capture structure with CV release. So that means that at the end of our code, we're gonna have to release the video capture. So the next thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna use two functions. The first one is called read, and this function basically it reads frames from the video that's being captured and puts it into an image. And then a function that's called imshow, and basically this function what it does is it displays a frame or image that it's passed to it. So I'm gonna start with the read function. So image, this is where I'm gonna put the frame or the image that is being read, equal cap dot read, and then I'm gonna use the mshow function, so cv2. And so let's take a look at the documentation for these two functions. So I'm gonna head to the OpenCV documentation website. So the first one, the read function, it says here grabs, decodes, and returns the next video frame. So that means that this function is going to return the next video frame into this variable, which is, I'm calling here image. We can say image. Okay. So parameters, it outputs an image. The video frame is returned here. If no frames has been grabbed, the image will be empty. Okay. And then if you look at the imshow function, here it is. It says display an image in the specified windows, and it takes two arguments. The first one is a string, which is basically the window name, the window that's going to be where the video is going to be displayed in it. And then it takes an input array, which is basically the image that it has to display. So we're gonna pass these two arguments. The first one is the window name. Let's call it live video, and then we're gonna pass the image, this one that's being read or captured, so that it displays it. If I leave my code just like this, what's gonna happen is this function is going to start capturing with the camera, and then this one is going to start reading an image or a frame from the video that's being captured, and then this one's going to show this frame, and that's it. So basically it's only going to read one image or one frame, and then it's going to show it, and then it's not going to be able to show the rest of the video. So in order to do that, we need to create a loop where this function read the next frame, and then this function show it, and then we keep doing that, repeating that, and this is how we create or we display our video, because basically every video is just a set of frames or images that are being displayed one after the other. So what we need to do is that we need these functions to repeat themselves. So I'm just gonna put them in a loop. So while true. Now these two functions I'm going to repeat themselves. This one is gonna read it, the read from the video is being captured, and this one is gonna show the frame, and then read the next frame, and then show the next frame, and this is how you display a video. And then if we go back to the documentation for the imshow function, we're going to see that there's a very important note written here, and it says this function should be followed by a call to CV wait key. So let's see what wait key function is. Waits for a pressed key. So it makes sense. So if we just leave the code like this, these two functions are just going to keep repeating themselves, and it won't be able to know when to end or when to close the window that displays the video. So I need to put a condition to close that window or to finish reading or displaying the video that's being captured. So this is when we're going to use the wait key function. So if cv2 dot wait, sorry, now let me put the right indentation to my code. So should be like this. Okay. uh, so now what's going to happen, this function is going to repeat itself. So this is going to keep reading from the widget that's being captured, and then this one is going to show on the window that's named live video. And then if I press on the key Q, which stands for quit, this loop is going to be break, and then we're going to stop displaying the video. Now the last thing we need to do is, if we go back to the documentation for the video capture function, we remember the note that says when you finish working with the video, release CV capture with CV release capture. So this is exactly what we're going to do. So cap dot release, and then we're just gonna close all the windows. So cv2 dot destroy all windows. So that's it. Now if we run this code, it's gonna capture the video and display it in a window that's named live video, and we're gonna be able to see what the camera is capturing. So now let me head to my Raspberry Pi and show you while it's working, while it's recording videos. So now let me show you while it's running on the Raspberry Pi and recording videos. So I've got here my Raspberry Pi. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 Model B, the 8 gig of RAM one. And then I have the Pi camera connected to it. This is the Pi camera. And here's the code that we wrote together. Okay, so let me just run it. So run. And as you can see here, it opened the window that it's named live video as we named it in the imshow function, and it's displaying the video that we're capturing. So let me move the camera around a little bit. So now you know how to capture a video and display with the Raspberry Pi camera. In the next video, I'm going to explain how to scan a QR code using the OpenCV library with the Raspberry Pi. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you find this video to be informative in some way, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, where I'm going to share a lot of OpenCV videos and videos on Rust, which is robot operating systems and robotics projects. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.